Alright. I'm in fact live. Although I forgot to change the title. More dialogue. Work. Briefly. Than something else. I don't know. Okay. You know what? Good enough. We take those. Alright. Oh, and I need to send out the tweet. Okay. Alright. So, I guess. Oh. I guess what I more or less when I got done, I want to put like the X button that I alluded to before, like in the previous stream. First, I do just want to see what we have. Okay. Last time I worked on this. So, I guess. Yeah, okay, so I want to add like the X button. First, I'm gonna need a reference picture, so bear with me for a second. Okay. So the interesting thing here is that the X button that I can see seems to be like a little bit wider than it is tall. It's interesting. I'll show this off in a second. Yep. So if we go over to here, so you can see how the X button is actually slightly wider. It's like this big. Yeah, interesting. So in that case, I'll have to sort of do the same thing. So how tall am I gonna make this anyway? If I open... Gonna need to remember what I called it again. Probably just called it text box, right? Something like that. Like dialogue box. There we go. I found it. So, if we go... If we copy this over... Create a new layer. Yep, so then we can copy this. Actually, no, hang on. Forgot to copy it onto this layer. Okay. Go over and copy this. Then we go and copy this as well. Alright, cool. We can extend this out. Extend this out as well. We need to do that. Same thing here. Oh. There we go. So then I'm sort of finding out something interesting just by looking a bit closer. Seems that there should be a little more room like that has this like gray part. I won't worry about that for now. What I am worried about for now is, I guess, doing like this. It would kind of be helpful to like mark this out. Okay, so that's like three pixels there. I think that is about the same ratio. Let me put this. Oop. I shouldn't do that because this is part of that layer. There we go. So now put this here, that there. There we go. Let me just extend. That seems about right. If anything, it actually seems a bit too tall. So I will fix that real quick. I think just one on each side is probably fine. We can probably take away this now. One more. I think I put it a bit too far. There we go. That's better. And we just need to have it actually be an X. Have this be called like button. Now I need to go and see how I've styled the rest of the buttons. Just give me a second while I load some other stuff. There we go. Yeah, so this is where I have all the icons. So I actually style these, or I color them in game, apparently. Okay. That makes sense. In that case, I'll probably just do the same thing here. How does this go? Yeah, okay, it's basically just an X, so nothing too crazy. It's like 4 there, 4 there. Hmm. So wait, how does that work? Hmm. It's like no matter what, it just turns out uneven. Really strange. I guess because it's kind of like lopsided. So we'd actually need to do like that. So it'd actually be closer to this than the way I had it before. So then we could just do this, I guess. So then this should be the same on both sides. Yeah. Yeah, you'll lock the fuck in. Good. Be that way. Yeah, so I'm currently just trying to sprite this. Basically. Yeah, so pretty much like before I've been making a dialogue system, and I'm styling after, you know, like a Windows 95 sort of thing. So I'm sort of using this image as a reference, trying to have it somewhat like that. I think this is a bit more even. Yeah, dialogue system for EBH, exactly. I think this is kind of similar enough. So then I guess I would have this be white and then we can color it in game. So I need to save this out. It's like a different sprite, but that's okay. Just do that real quick. Just delete these. This dialogue X button. We also need to export this. That should be good enough. So back to Game Maker. I think it's in Managers. We also need to insert the sprite. Do that here. This won't be visible on screen just because Game Maker captures are a bit jank, but I'm basically just importing the sprite for this. Okay. So then I would need to go up to here. Sort of reading back through this. Yeah, so then I could do the close button here. We'd essentially just draw this as a sprite. So we can do underscore dialog x 0. Then we'd have to do something a bit like this. Although it would be plus width minus this. And then this would have to be about the same. So this should make it so that the actual button, like, background appears. So it won't have the X. Not yet, anyway. Just have to wait for this to compile. Okay. So I can do this. Okay, so it's kinda off. That's interesting. Okay. So I'm wondering... Oh, I know what I did wrong. Okay. I mean, honestly, I could just brute force this, but... Oh well. I'm not even gonna bother brute forcing it. Well, I mean, I kind of have to brute force the height a little bit. I mean, I do wonder if there's some method to the madness here. So I'm gonna have to put this in brackets as well. And do like maybe minus another... Maybe minus another 10. If this doesn't work, then there is a method I can do to sort of manually figure this out just by taking a screenshot and then finding out where things are. Okay. So I can take a screenshot of this. Now, give me a second. Alright, I can show a sprite again now. What goes into coding a text box? So, if I go back over here, I could just briefly show you. So, a lot of it is just like finding the width and height of things. So, trying to like position all the text correctly, trying to position like the portrait correctly. In terms of actually incrementing the text at like a fixed rate, it basically just there's a built-in function to copy like I guess like a substring of like a full bit of text. So then you essentially just copy from like the first character all the way up to like the current like character progress so that it'll actually like draw out each letter rather than just instantly showing everything. Other than that, there's some stuff on like mouse input. Uh, like everything is basically just stored in a list. So if I go over here, you can see like the dialogue here in this list. Then there's also a list for each of the portraits, and then a list for each of the names of a speaker. So yeah, that's a brief rundown. Anyway, back to Sprite. So if I open dialogue again, this is how I want it to be spaced out. And this is what we're currently getting. So I believe what I need is one, two more down. Is it two more down? Might be one more down. Yeah, I think it's one more down. Okay, so this needs to be one more down than it is currently. And then if I look at this, so that's a space of 6. It's a space of 7. Okay. So it needs to be 4 more across. Okay. So 1 more down and 4 more across. Seems to be correct. It sounded simple for like 2 seconds. Sprite looks handy as hell though. Yeah, it really is. Uh, like honestly just a super good program in general. Even besides like just doing pixel art. Like honestly, I used to use it just to edit GIFs. And like I still do sometimes. Like not even like pixel art, but just editing GIFs because it has all of the frames for that. Like it has an animation system. It's just super useful in general. But yeah. Alright. Back to this. We have so it needs to be 4 more across, as I walked out before. Needs to be 1 more down. Should be like that. So this should have the X button positioned correctly. Hopefully. That seems almost correct. I might have messed up something. This still looks a bit off. Hmm. Yeah, okay, so if I go back here, needs to be like an additional one down. Okay. Easy fix. Needs to be minus 20. Alright. That seems to be positioned a bit better. So now we just need to actually add the X. Which that shouldn't be too difficult. But I do want to quickly go over here and see how I've implemented that for these other buttons. Okay, this is a mess. So honestly, I'm not even gonna bother working with this. I'm gonna just do a fresh implementation. Yeah, screw that. I'm wondering something there. Because if I look at Windows 95, like if I were to look at someone actually using it, I want to see this. Right now I'm just trying to look at how this is sort of styled. So the interesting thing that I've noticed is that not every button on Windows 95 has like a mouse over effect. That's interesting. So, I may not even have to bother with a mouse over for this. In fact, if anything, it seems for these types of buttons, normally what it would do, if I go back over here, is it would effectively just invert it. Sort of like this. To give like a clicked effect. But it doesn't have like a mouse over. So in that case, I'm just not even gonna bother programming a mouse over for that. Because it's accurate. So here's plan B. Which is now becoming plan A because I'm not gonna bother re-implementing a whole mouse over system. We do this, then we create another frame, which is just this being pressed. Rotate 180. I pressed, or sorry, unpressed and pressed. And we can just export that instead. Okay. Now, if we go back to the game maker sprites, we can basically just re-import these. My mouse is gonna look a bit weird. Just because of the way that all of this has to be captured, but... Okay, there we go. Have unpressed and pressed. We can save that. I think... I'm trying to figure out how I would do this. I think the easiest thing to do would just be to calculate this ahead of time. Like, just find these x and y coordinates ahead of time. Then that way we don't have to bother messing with it a bunch. Because I basically need to find if the player is anywhere inside these box coordinates so that I can properly do like pressing and releasing. So we do this, we do that. So we then do if point in rectangle. Oop. Point rectangle, mouse X, mouse Y. Basically do X. We'd find like the width and height first as well. How about we just call these like X, Y, or XX, XY, because it's the X button. So, yeah, X width and X height. So then we got sprite width. Sprite get width? Forgetting the command name. Yeah, it's sprite get width. Get the width of this. Then we'd also get the height. A lot of this would probably be easier to just... Oh. I just realized you can't see this. So I'm pretty much just putting the stuff here. Like all of the button specs, I guess. And we got the height. We're gonna just divide it by 2 from the start. Because that makes it easier to just do the math here. Then you do underscore x underscore x y minus the x height. Then you do this, but plus. Oh, right. So then do this as plus and plus. I think that's correct. So then we'd have this as like check mouse input. We'd basically do if MB, okay, if mouse check button MB left, so we check for the left mouse button, we'd set sub image, a sub image here, to be 0 by default. Otherwise, we set it to 1 since it's pressed down. And then we do if mouse check button pressed, or released actually. Then we would honestly just destroy this entire thing. I think that should be right. I do want to optimize this too, but I want to make sure it just works first. Like, we just get it to work before we worry about saving draw calls or whatever. Optimization bullshit. Oh. Okay, so the game crashed on compile. That's okay. Let's take a look at this. Malformed if statement. Ah, okay. I forgot to put in the mouse button. Okay. Just waiting for this to load on OBS. Alright. Okay, dialogue underscore Y. Okay. So the game crashed again. I think I know exactly why this happened though. Yep, it's because I changed the variable name and forgot to change it here. Easy fix. Okay. Ah. So now you can see if I do this, it does change depending on if I have my mouse held or not. But then that's an issue. Because if I close it, it doesn't set everything correctly. So better idea. We're gonna put this in a user event. So I think it's event user 0. So then we would add, this won't be visible on screen, but can basically add a new user event that just does this. Rather than copying and pasting this. Do event user 0. Good. Now my only problem with this still is that even when you go off of it, it like continues hovering. And even if I just press it and then go on it, it'll do the same thing. So that's kind of an issue. So I'm gonna fix that real quick. Well, first I'm gonna go quickly get some water, so I'll be right back. Yep. Give me just a second. Okay, I am back. I have water, and I can now go quickly fix this dialogue issue. So essentially, I want to make an x Harvard variable. Well, I also need to comment this. So that's the dialogue to fade out. We do x Harvard. If the close button is currently being pressed down on, we can set x Harvard to false. Then we'd essentially do a mouse check button pressed here. And this would set x Harvard to true. Oh, that's the end of that playlist. I do like the Ultra Kill soundtrack though, so I may as well just start it from the start of Act 2. Why not? Okay. So we have x Harvard as true. And then we would move this over to yes, hovering over, I guess button pressed down. We could then check if x Harvard. Then we'd basically just move this over here. Just take this away completely. Cool. Then this would be finish getting input, draw box, or draw button. My work has inspired you to get off Balatro and start working. It's totally not because you just lost a good run. It's the inspiration of my hard work. Well, of course. It only makes sense. My coding is absolutely immaculate. In fact, I've actually never crashed in my entire life. My game has never crashed before. It actually just works first time every time. That's how good my programming is. Those crashes earlier, those were planned. Okay, so this works properly now. See, as I said, it worked. It worked exactly how I wanted it to, first time. Hooray. Alright, so in that case, that aspect of the dialogue system is pretty much finished. I do quickly want to address something else though, which is to do with a boss. And specifically the way that this boss interacts with the dialogue system. So I believe it's an interactive boss. Actually, no, it'd have to be in the spawner script. This must mean that your writing is going to be a big hit, of course. Yeah. Okay, hang on. Let's find pattern equals... God, which pattern is it? I think it's 37. Yeah, okay. This is Yatanasai. Oh. So then it would essentially do this. We'd have the instances, what would you call it? Have the instances image alpha set to 0. Trying to figure out how this works. So how do I... Cause like somewhere I have to be changing the target. Or I need to be changing the minigun angle somewhere. I don't know where I do that. Okay, here we go. So yeah, we just do image alpha plus equals 0.1. We do equals image alpha plus 0.1, and then we clamp this between 0 and 1. There we go. Quickly drink water. Okay. So now, if we go here, now her guns actually fade in, which is nice. Although the funny thing is that I don't do that with any of her other weapons. Even though I probably should. Okay. So I do want to quickly fix that as well. I go back to 37. Hide that. Okay, so wherever I have a width statement in here, I need to actually do this. Ah, hang on. That includes here. So yeah, that's the shotgun. Ever Merman 37 reference. World's best variety streamer. Indeed. Yeah, I don't know. I probably should stream a little bit more variety, but I'm also kind of in in indie game hell, so I don't know. So I believe right index. Just trying to read through this. Give me a moment. Hmm. So here is when it creates the shotgun. Trying to find where it actually does the width statement with it. Except I don't think it even does the width statement. I think it actually just increments it manually. So I'm not even sure if there's an easy way to do this. Like, I could put it here. Could put it here and just set this to 0 here. But then I don't know where I would start incrementing its visibility. Oh, hang on. I mean, okay, there is an easier way I could do this. And it's the same for the handgun as well. So I could do that. Then I would actually just check this on the bullet script. I guess it's the delete OBJ script, which is a different thing. Where do I even have this? It's not there. Why can't I find this? Okay, so it's here, even though it's technically interactive. So that's really odd. I don't know why I categorized it like that. Oh well. Shotgun. Basically just do image alpha equals clamp image alpha plus 0.1 0 1, and then we do if it's also the handgun. Handy? Yeah, okay. That is correct. So now if I go back to her attack, do this. And now we need to find any inst. Actually, let's look for instance create. So this should correctly set that to be invisible. Correctly set that to be invisible. The bullets don't need to be invisible to begin with. Same with that, same with that. Okay, so that's all that was required. Whoop. Then we would, right. I am at the wrong round currently. Which means I'm gonna cheat. Bye. Alright. Now, those guns fade in. Yeah, so it actually fades in each of the guns. Whoa. She fucking exploded. Yes. She did in fact do that. That is what they do. And in fact, this one explodes in an even more interesting way. I get through this. So she actually does a bait explode, and then she comes back, which is pretty cool. And then she explodes for real. Yeah. Anyway. Get me out of here. Nice. Alright, so that is the second boss fully addressed in terms of dialogue. I believe the others don't have any problems either, so basically done with the dialogue system. So that's nice. So what else could I do right now? I did tease the idea of doing a new bullet pattern. It could be a good idea. Let me just see. Because I basically write down all of my ideas. I do have one that I could do. Yeah, okay. I know one that I can do that would be not too intensive to program. So let me just update my title. Alright, and we're going to make a new bullet pattern. Which is pretty cool, I guess. So then I do want to quickly copy from Whirlpool. So I believe, yep, that's the end. Then we copy over Whirlpool. We add in, instead of Whirlpool, we do spinners. Should be pattern 56. Yep. Okay, so this is essentially a bullet, is what I'm finding out. So then we can just delete that. And then we would create them randomly somewhere in the room. So let's first randomize positions. Var x equals room width, or I guess random of the room width. So we do like minus 100 or so, then add 50. We do random room height. We do sort of the same thing. How about we do this as 160? I mean, I feel like I could do this as like the same thing. Plus 80, the same amount of offset. Okay, so actually this would have to be equals 0, equals 0. And then we would repeat this like 5 times. We would randomize the location. Take away this initializing piece. Yep. And then we'd basically create the bullet at this location. Now we currently don't have a sprite for this, but it'll make a bit more sense soon enough. I'm not even gonna bother with that. Not gonna bother with that. I'm not gonna bother with the sound either, for now. And then we do a random range between 4 and... Actually, no, let's make it more than that. 10 and 20. Actually, that might be excessive. Between 6 and 12 should be a bit better. Then we multiply that by either -1 or 1. Or even 10 is a bit excessive. Or 12, I mean. So, I guess if I think about this, I'd actually want 6 to be the upper limit. Because that's like a full rotation per second. Want to make this like 4. So now I'm going to quickly do this. Underscore spinner. If I quickly bring up sprite editor. Like that. Put this at the top here. So what we essentially want here is a circle. And then within that circle, we can have just an arrow. That is a really thick arrow. Whatever. Gets the point over well enough. It's kind of a thick arrow still, but bear with me. Also, this should be under bullets. I'm realizing. Bring this down here. We can close this UI section. We also need to add what's it, into the load practice script. Okay, so we go to load practice script. We say that the max is 56. We go to load practice panel. And we do a case here. And we call this spinners instead. Now all that's left to do is we get... Actually have to go back into the UI. We go to attack screenshot. I'm realizing that I messed up slightly. Whoops. Okay, so then we go all the way... Whoa. Okay, hang on, I might hide this just because it's kind of flashy. Not too pleasant on the eyes. But I can show this. So then we effectively just delete that. Replace this with spinners. Like that. So that should be fully good to go. Just save this out. So I think that should all be good to go, technically. Although I would also need to quickly change this. Do this. Change this to spinners. We might actually have to do this in a kind of unconventional way. Now that I think about it. Like deciding where to put the spinners. Because otherwise the attack warning isn't going to be correct. Alright, let's take a look at this. I need to reveal that. Spinners. And they are completely not there. Okay. So that's a bit of an issue. Is it because of the image alpha? Yeah, it's because of the image alpha. Whoops. pile. Right, okay. Go to spinners again. And it's still not showing up. That's wonderful. But clearly there's still something there. Okay, is it now because of the size of them? Yeah, so I didn't bother changing this. We'll comment this out as well. Active equals false. We're gonna make them inactive to start with as well, just because otherwise they would just spawn onto you, which is kind of bullshit. There we go. The spinners do be spinning. So then the plan is to make them actually fire bullets. They're kind of funny. I like them. Alright. Well, I'm kind of trapped. Actually, I can do that. Not entirely trapped. Alright. So then I could go like here. Not to spawner, actually. To a bullet. So what is a bullet that creates all the bullets? I think the UFO would be good for this. So then we do this. Underscore spinner. Now we would need a manual timer for this. Bullet timer. We have to do bullet timer plus plus. Have to do if bullet timer is greater than 30. Greater than or equal to 30. Do repeat for 90. So I don't think we need to bother with this section. We can just delete that. Do this. Direction equals random 90. And now what? I guess this is just fine as is. I just need to make sure to actually set this to 0 when we create the spinner. Yeah, so we would do inst dot bullet timer, and we would set that to 0. A timer for firing a bullet. Sure. Let's see if this just works. Okay, RBS has caught up. Uh-oh. Oh, okay. So I've made a mistake. Let's go to SBO_spinner. The game crashed, for the record. Doesn't show on screen when it does, but... Oh, whoops. I deleted this, which was essential. And also, this should just be var inst equals 0 or equals -1. To begin with, to be honest. Same here. That's kind of sketchy. So I'm actually going to need to test UFOs as well, real quick. I believe they should be here. Right? Yeah, here they are. Okay, so UFOs still work. That's good. Alright, take me out of this. Go to spinners. Holy shit. This might be a little too difficult. Good lord. I mean, if you get on, like, one side, it's, like, kind of possible, but then, like, you can't even reach the target. It's just too many bullets. It's crazy. Honestly, kind of deranged. Not gonna lie. It's funny, though. Alright, let's... Where is the spinner? Okay. I think this should be fair. Yeah, banger incoming. That is true. do this. I believe that works. Okay, this is still definitely over difficult. If it weren't for the fact that you need to get to the target, it would probably be fine, but as is, like, nah, there's no way. So we need to tune this down to, like, maybe once per 12 frames. So like that. Okay. Oh god. I also feel like the bullets need to be a little slower. If the bullets were a little slower and a little smaller, I feel like this would actually be a lot more manageable. Ugh. Good lord. Um... Hmm... I kind of have an idea of what I could make this attack. But I won't bother for now. Oh, actually, I know why this attack is kind of strange. It's because I currently have it to set to a random, like, spin rate. So if I go spinner, and I instead set this to be image angle, then it'd become a bit more predictable. Let's just try this. Alright. Spinners. Yeah, so suddenly it becomes a lot more predictable if I do that. Obviously still pretty hard, but not as RNG heavy. Obviously, this still needs to be tuned a bit. So what is like a smaller placeholder bullet I could put here? Hmm. I don't have a lot of like smaller bullets. No, it would be kind of fun to have like an I want to be the guy reference here. Like maybe I could make them apples. That'd be fun. We'll call them fruits because delicious fruits. The original I want to be the guy. And then we could just let's quickly draw out like an apple. Like just a quick placeholder apple. Like obviously it's a placeholder. And I realize you also can't see this on screen, which is a bit oops. But I'll be done with this in a second. Won't be much longer. Okay, and now we can change the bullet to an apple. We can go to spinner. We change this to be fruit. Change this to 5. Then we change this to 15. Oh. The bracket here is now unnecessary. Need water real quick. It's kind of fun. Now, our only problem with this is we're still making it a bit too difficult to get to targets, but oh, that's also an issue. We have a spinner that is barely spinning at all. That's a bit of a problem. So, I guess the issue there. So if we divide 90 by... If we divide 90 by 15, we get 6. So what's happening there is that it's too close to 6, which is causing it to sort of overlap. So we need this to be like 5.5 at the bare, or at the absolute maximum. I think this is probably fine. And then we're gonna continue tuning this down. I'm gonna need to put on another thing quickly. You know what? Fuck it. P2 Sanctum, because I'm gonna be ending soon anyway, but may as well play the P2 stuff. Ah, here we go. I'm gonna change this to 20. Do this. Put it in brackets just in case. Still does have the problem where sometimes they're a bit inaccessible. You know, maybe we tune them down so that they only create 3 at a time. Maybe that'll be slightly better. We just remove 25% of the bullets. Why not? Spinner. Let me just repeat this 3 times instead. Change this to 120. Hello, Zelka ID or Zelkide? Zelka ID? I don't know. Welcome. So then think this should be good. Zell is fine? Alright. Yeah, welcome in, Zell. Hope you, well. uh, yeah, so I'm kind of just finishing up anyway. Uh, got this attack kind of working. Obviously still with, like, placeholder stuff. I want to quickly change the spawn zone of... Well, I guess the problem that I could potentially have is that no matter where I put the spawn zone, I could have a situation where the target spawns inside of another spawner. So that's something I'm kind of just gonna have to think on for how I would implement this. It's an interesting problem. I think for now, what I do want to quickly do is I want to fix the way that these are sort of indicated. So if I go here to where this is randomized. This looks neat though, thank you. Yeah, so this is a game that I've been working on for quite a while, just kind of like on and off. I'm kind of just trying to finish this lost sort of update for it. So we're adding in a bunch of new bullet patterns and all that. So I guess what I'd do is I would add these as extra variables. My spinner x. Then I'd copy this in. Randomize spinner y. So then, for actually indicating these, I can go in here, basically just do if pattern is 56, comment this. We can then do, I guess, repeat list size extra vase. What's it called again? If I go down here, yeah, it is just extra vase. So then I got the list size of that. Although I need to divide it by 2. Then I would draw this sprite here. Set I to 0. Need to quickly double check. So I would need this to be subimage 4. Basically check extra vars at I, and then extra vars at I plus 1. And I'd put this at the end. I'd increment I by 2. And that should correctly display where they're gonna spawn, I believe. Yep. Go to here. Okay, so the game crashed, but I think I know why. Should be pretty straightforward. Yeah, so it's because I forgot to put the underscore here. Just wait for this to load. Okay, so that didn't work at all. Alright, let's figure out why that is. I have a hunch. Okay, so yeah, the first reason is because it's only doing this once when it should be doing it 5 times. Then we also have to actually get those here. So currently it's still randomizing them. So it actually need to have a var underscore I 0 to I plus equals 2. X equals extra vars at the I position. Do the same thing here, except you do plus 1. I think now that should work as intended. So yeah, now I can go spinners. Yep, that actually does work now. Nice. Sort of navigate over here and click that. So this attack is obviously still gonna need some tuning. For now, I think I'm happy with its current state. Just in terms of having it working. So I'll have to do more polish on this later, but for now, I am going to be ending the stream. So thank you all for watching. I'm going to see if there's anyone I can raid. Let's see. Everybody that I really know is like on. Let's see. Do we have others? Yeah, I figure I'll probably just end the stream. I don't really have a raid target, so yeah, I'll be streaming again Tuesday at 1 a.m. GST. So that's like +0, so you can convert that to your local time zone a bit easier. I stream like Tuesday, Saturday, and actually Tuesday, Friday, and Saturday at 1 a.m. GST. That may be changing soon, but yeah, I should be streaming again on Tuesday. Same time as today. Yeah. Bye-bye, everyone. Bye.